everyone. You're watching Business of Sport on Cricketnext. I'm Surama Kaushik, your host, and today's episode is all about your questions. In the last four episodes, we talked about BCCI's bilateral rights, jersey sponsorship, apparel sponsorship, and we discussed all of it at length. But in the last episode, we received your questions. You actually questioned us about that who's going to be the next jersey sponsor. You also asked us that whether there are any top five sponsors on the list. You asked us to give us some hints. But I felt that, let's just research a little bit more and then come up with the potential sponsors for the jersey. And to give the clear picture about the same, I have with me Network 18 Group Sports Editor K. Srinivas Rao. Hello, Srini. Welcome back to Business of Sports. And as I just mentioned, that this episode is about all the questions that we have received so far. And the big question is everybody wants that you should tell them who are the potential sponsors for the jersey this time. So, any update on that?
Yes. So the update is that three potential sponsors have been zeroed in. Okay.
Okay.
Price, what Baiju is paying.
Hmm.
Price is not the issue.
Okay.
Uh, the tenure is the issue.
Acha. Okay.
And let me get a little bit into the pricing. I think we had discussed it in the last episode. I'll just repeat it. For an ICC event, Baiju was paying around 1.75 crore.
Hmm.
And for an India bilateral, it was around 5.5 crore. Right?
Hmm.
So that pricing, the money in question, BCCI may still get that same amount. They will not have to
Okay.
drop the pricing.
Hmm.
Where BCCI has been concerned is about the longevity of the deal, right?
Hmm.
Can they sign? It looks weird, right? That in 2023 the Indian team will wear a particular brand, then 24 it changes, 25 it
Yeah.
changes, continuity, right?
Hmm.
So continuity is what BCCI is looking at,
Hmm.
and that is where negotiations are on. I was discussing this with someone and was wondering, could there be a reduction in the price so that it allows continuity?
Hmm.
So these are instances which are kind of, or if it doesn't happen, and if this, if they are unable to come to any conclusion,
Hmm.
there is a chance that for the arrangement and for the relations that BCCI has had with Baiju, they will ask them to continue for one game. You know, this is just one
Hmm.
off, right? Then afterwards you get a long
Yeah.
stretch any which way. And since it's a world
Which,
test
yeah.
championship, judges might even agree to pay the money, right? So that
Huh.
way. So these are the
So are
negotiations
you
that are.
are you telling us that for the W Test World Test Championship, that's WTC, we can see Baiju's jersey? Uh,
I'm not
is
saying no, I'm not saying that's a surety, but don't discount it.
okay.
Depends on what are the current negotiations turn out to be.
Hmm.
Because again, if somebody is coming on board saying, see, remember, this is not just about the WTC. This is also a World Cup year. It's a big year. Anybody kind of trying to look at getting in here, the cattle is the major deal maker. The sugar, this thing in the sweetener in the deal is the World Cup. It's a very big
Yeah.
event, right? And that too,
Yeah.
it is in India.
Yeah.
So visibility is going to be that much higher, right?
Hmm.
These are issues that are being kept in mind. Obviously, Baju
Okay.
is a very outside chance. I'm not saying that likely
Hmm.
to happen also, because this
Huh.
being a World Cup year, you will definitely see interested parties.
So, Srini, everybody is quite excited to know when can we see the new sponsors. Any potential date out there? कब तक देखने को मिल सकता है and all of that?
They are. So I can tell you, Adidas, they are planning to launch it as soon as the IPL is over. It's a
Okay.
distraction to do it in the middle of IPL,
Huh. Right.
right? And I can tell you there are some other issues going on in terms of IPL. There's been, BCCI takes it very seriously. Conflict in brands,
Hmm.
in any kind of ambush marketing, it takes it very seriously, and that is
Hmm.
why there is a sort of, with the IPL going on, kit sponsors, they're being with franchises and all. They're trying to like kind of make sure that there is no overplay on this. So
Okay.
as soon as the IPL is over and we are at the business end of the tournament, today is the
Yeah.
21st in hours. This is the last week of the IPL. The
Hmm.
moment IPL is over, BCCI will come out with the new Adidas. It will announce the Adidas sponsorship, the kid sponsorship. And it's a, for me personally, Suramya, Adidas coming on board is a very very good thing. People ask several things. What was wrong with that brand? What was wrong with this brand? I keep saying this, that Team India, given the stature, a world class brand, getting associated adds value
Yeah.
to, kind of the apparatus that it is. And quality makes a huge difference. We knew that, Nike jerseys were costly for the fan, but what the players
Yeah.
wore were top quality jerseys, right? Same we
Yeah.
can, kind of accept from Adidas. And I tweeted about
Yeah.
this. I said, Mr. Virat Kohli, despite the fact that he is with Puma, he appreciated the quality of the Adidas jersey that is being given
Yeah.
to Team India.
Yeah, absolutely. And Srini, this also reminds me that when we started Business of Sports, I remember first or the second episode, you mentioned that, it'll be great if we get an apparel brand out there to sponsor the jersey. And then I remember how Cricket Next broke that story that Adidas will be the apparel sponsors. And now you talking about, how great it is to have Adidas on board. It's like a full circle, where we started. We are just talking about the same brand. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, see, Raymond is a great brand. Pantaloon, great brand.
Mm.
Whatever. I mean, BlackBerry, Arrow, all these are apparel brands, right? Great brands.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong. I mean, if when I suit up, I wear a BlackBerry. I mean, I love the brand, but that doesn't
Mm.
mean that they can sponsor Indian cricket team. That
Yeah.
needs to be a
Right.
sports apparel brand, right? I
Absolutely.
don't
Yes.
have a personal problem with a killer or with the MPL. It is a fantasy league. How can a
Mm.
fantasy league be a kid sponsor of the Indian team? I mean,
Yeah.
I just don't get it. I just don't
Mm.
get it. And even in
Mm.
terms of killer, I mean, you make denims, right? I mean, that is your top brand. Whatever I mean,
Yeah.
you're a denim manufacturer. How can you associate yourself with the Indian cricket team? I need
Absolutely.
a kid sponsor who makes sports jerseys. Like, what am I telling the
Huh.
youngster? Like, it just doesn't match up. I just need random visibility, so I'm like stepping in.
Mm.
I feel that there should be horses for courses, and that's why I think Adidas coming on board lends credibility to the business. Although, let me add here that the price at which Adidas is coming in is way lower than what Nike was paying.
Hmm. Right. But it's good that we have Adidas on board.
Yes.
And let's just hope that we get to soon the jersey sponsors as well pretty soon because everyone's quite excited about that. But for now, let's move on to the bilateral rights front. We had talked about it at length in our previous episodes, Srini, and quite a lot many questions have come to us about it, that how these tenders work, when BCCI is planning to roll out the tender and all of it. Now the big question is, Srini, I want to tell all of us that what's happening on that front right now. And I remember in last to last episode you told us that just after the IPL it's a possibility that BCCI could roll out the bilateral rights tender. So is it finalized or not? So what's the current update?
Tender is ready. The tender document is ready. What the
Okay.
BCCI is still not sure about is whether it needs to bring it out now, immediately after the IPL, or they
Okay.
need to wait. I'll just break this down completely into some very important, actually. Right now, as we see, it's a very, very important discussion going on. I can add a bit of
Yeah.
news also. In the last
Okay.
48 to 72 hours, the BCCI has sat with presentations coming in from multiple agencies. Ernst&
Okay.
Young, Group M, McKinsey's of the world have come and given a presentation to the BCCI. Surprisingly, KPMG, the financial finance company that had advised BCCI on the IPL rights tender, did not come to the table this time. So the
Mm.
KPMG, other than KPMG, everybody else was there. I'm told BCCI did a lot of presentations. Now, the tender document that they came out with in 2018, the one that Star won,
Mm.
for
Mm.
5 years,
Yeah.
it is more or less, it is the same tender document that BCCI is once
Mm.
again ready with. The only difference is that it will sell digital and linear separately, TV and digital separately.
Mm.
Um, but that is understood. I mean, the world has come way too far for digital and
Yeah.
linear to be sold together. We saw in
Mm.
the IPL, both got, in fact, digital overtook television. So it
Yeah.
always makes sense to now sell digital separately. So there is no rocket science there. The
Yeah.
interesting bit is that BCCI is not going to sell the formats separately. They want to
Okay.
sell the entire bundle together. We,
Acha.
I remember, had done a show on Business of Sport where we had talked about the need for bucketing of formats.
Yeah. Right.
Unfortunately, that is not happening. Why is it not happening? Because BCCI believes, number one, it's a way too complicated process. Two, it
Mm.
is not. There is no guarantee of broadcasters showing enough interest in Test cricket, which the board
Okay.
wants to protect at all costs.
Huh.
And there is again no surety of the ODI calendar and ODI format either.
Yeah.
Futuristic speaking. Second
Hmm.
is, look at IPL. What is the beauty about IPL? Every year, that IPL will begin either March end or early April, right?
Yeah.
At all costs, right?
Yeah.
And it will end by May end. By May end,
Hmm.
it will conclude, right? I mean, the
Right.
pandemic was obviously a hindrance, but otherwise, what we have seen is the IPL is slated to begin annually in the last week of March, first week of April, and it concludes
Hmm.
generally either in the last week of May or first week of June.
Hmm.
Now, what it allows the stakeholders to do is plan way in advance, because it is the month of April and May that are going to be action packed, right?
Hmm.
Every year children's exams holidays are going to coincide with the IPL. The summer
Hmm.
holidays are going to coincide with the IPL. Families can plan their vacations, budget their ticketing, whatever, kind of, if they are
Yeah.
interested in seeing matches. Hotstar subscriptions that used to come, they used to kind of, now it is Geo, but now Geo
Hmm.
is free. But earlier on, that you could plan to spend. If you had to spend money, obviously you had to, families have to plan how they want to spend.
Yeah.
Right? So all of this could be done way in advance. That is why, in fact, in one of the episodes, we will touch upon this going forward, where advanced planning is so important. Okay, that's the start of
Yeah.
the match. Uh,
Yeah, but IPL is still going on. It's just a reminder that, while we're talking about the bilateral media rights, we just need to focus on IPL as well. But yeah, Shini, you were talking about that
I
we
so look at England. Look at England. We know that English summer cricket will be played at home, right? Test series will
yeah.
be played at home. Look at Australia. Boxing Day test will be at MCG. People can plan
Huh.
this a year in advance. India
Right.
needs to have its own season. So, all of that is a hindrance in terms of BCCI not being able to, not
Mhm.
being convinced on how it wants to sell the
Yeah,
bilateral rights. But
bilateral
that
rights.
said, I'll just quickly conclude this. So, I told you 2018 tender document is ready with minute changes, which is digital and TV to be sold separately, no bucketing of formats,
Hmm.
and I doubt. I'm not 100% sure about this, but I'll take a hunch, and a very good hunch here. Um,
Okay.
the BCCI is not going to call for consolidated bids. Consolidated bids meaning it will ask that bidders need to bid separately for digital, separately for TV. You can't put a consolidated bid for TV and digital both.
Hmm.
I
Okay.
think that clause is going to be there.
Okay. And a quick one there, Srini. What numbers to expect? Can you just give a brief figure? What numbers to
Somebody
expect?
wrote headlines 12,000 crore, 15,000 crore, and somebody called me
Yeah.
saying, kind of, where exactly is this coming from? Who is releasing these figures?
Yeah.
I wouldn't go by these figures.
Okay.
Let me tell you, Star was paying 60 crore rupees per game
Huh.
to the BCCI in the last
Yeah.
bilateral right series. Okay,
Yeah.
I can tell you, Star did not make money out of the deal. They lost
Mm.
money. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
maximum they would have reached per game is in the range of 40 crore.
Acha. Okay.
Money was lost. Although you ask Star, and Star will
And
say
huh.
where it benefited was that since it had rights over a period of 5 years, what it could do was it would keep the
Hmm.
advertiser engaged for that amount of time, show them the big picture in terms of the traction that they could provide across throughout the year, and that is why the losses were like kind of cut. I don't believe in that philosophy. I believe that at some point when you're looking at a business POV, you need to look at the bottom line perspective. I mean, when such big
True.
money is at play.
True.
So from that perspective, I think it was a loss making exercise. Yeah, I'm saying Star made money in IPL. Star made a
Hmm.
2,000 crore plus profit,
Yeah.
net
Hmm. Hmm.
profit. That's
Hmm.
huge. That's huge.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
in BCCI, they lost money.
Okay. And what are the potential reasons for it? What were the reasons?
See, the reasons are, I mean, again, like format wise, look at test matches. Test matches have been a
Yeah.
loss, right? I mean, matches have been getting
Yeah.
over in 2 days' time. That's
Yeah.
why in one of our shows earlier, we discussed the need to sell matches day wise,
Single
right?
formats.
And I have tried to kind of push this saying that you need to sell day one, day two separately, put premium on
Yeah.
day five. If it goes to day five,
Yeah.
earn good money out of it. But matches
Yeah.
have been finishing within 3 days, inside 2.5 days, and that's not good. That's not good
Yeah.
for the business. I mean, Team India can gain points and go and play the WTC, fair enough.
Hmm.
But for the business, it is not good. I mean, so you have to look at all sides, right? So
Huh.
there, ODIs have been losing sheen. So Ramya,
Yeah.
nobody has the time anymore to sit in front of the television for 7.5 hours to watch, to
Yeah.
consume a game. And we have narrated this like, even in T20 matches begin at 8 o'clock in the morning. If they go very late till 8 o'clock, till
Yeah.
12 o'clock in the night, visibility gets low. Sponsors don't get any visibility. All of
Yeah.
these things eventually add to the this thing. And
Hmm.
let's not forget that the entire calendar got massively disturbed because of the pandemic, the bilateral
Hmm.
calendar. I can tell
Absolutely. Yeah.
you that Star made a request to the BCCI to make some adjustments in the payments, although it's not such a huge deal. But yes, requests were made, and rightly so. Why not? I mean, at the end of the day, pandemic affected all of us.
All of us.
So all of that has taken a toll. And
Hmm.
look at the recent series, some of the recent series that have happened when West Indies were here. And it's a very simple thing. Watch a match, see what kind of advertisements you are seeing between overs, and that
Hmm.
tells you the whole story, right? So
Hmm.
IPL has picked up though, and we can only
Yeah.
hope that bilateral cricket will keep getting better now that the pandemic is behind us.
Yeah, that's absolutely right because T20 cricket has picked up the pace, especially when we talk about IPL. And this ongoing season, the viewership numbers are just soaring high with each and every game passing by day and day. So that's the reason, people love to spend just 4 hours in the evening and have that chill time watching T20 cricket. But yes, they find it as a burden to watch 50 over cricket, sit through the day, and then wait for the result at the end of the day. But when it comes to WTC, we'll have a chat on it at length in our next episode, Srini. I won't let you go anywhere without answering all the questions about World Test Championship, all the financial gains, the financial model, and all of it. But we'll see you in the next episode for that. Thank you so much for staying with us in this episode. It was fun chatting with you, and thank you for giving us insights as to who can be the next jersey sponsor for Team India jersey. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. So here I was in conversation with Network 18 Group Sports Editor K. Srinivas Rao. He told us about that there are few sponsors who are in the list to sponsor the Indian jersey, but there is a possibility that Byju's can continue for the World Test Championship. It might be a case that you could see Byju's jerseys in the World Test Championship. Well, that would be true or not, we'll get to know in a few weeks' time because the WTC Championship is going to start from June 7th. Our coverage will be there at length for that tournament as well. But right now, it's the IPL time. Stay tuned with Cricket Next for all live coverages and special videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts on this video. And you can also ask us your questions. This episode was all about your questions to us. We will continue to address all your questions and doubts. So stay tuned with us and keep watching Cricket Next.